This is about what I experienced 3 years ago, which still makes me shudder. One night, I found a bar in an alley on my way. I had lived in the area for 10 years, but had never seen this one before. Weird music was flowing out of the bar. It actually sounded like creepy noise rather than music. I walked into the bar with curiosity. It was already packed with so many people. Interestingly, the place was full of beautiful women. I sat at the bar, thinking beautiful women from all around the world had gathered here. Bartenders also were stunningly beautiful and handsome. While slowly sipping the drink, my eyes met a woman's, and she approached me. I tried to avoid her gaze, because my heart beat about 3 times faster than usual in front of beautiful women. She slowly came up to me and brought her face close to mine. I just forgot to breathe because of her flawless, gorgeous face. The smell of alcohol on her breath was just like out-of-this-world perfume, and I couldn't help but get a crush on her in the blink of an eye. When she asked me to go to her place together, I couldn't even believe my ears. We finally got her home. She whispered she loved me. That night I soon fell asleep, obsessed with extreme happiness. When I woke up early next morning, it was unbelievable, but I was lying on a bed in an abandoned house, and she was nowhere to be seen. The bed was stained with something dark red, like old blood. Feeling startled, I looked around, but there was nothing in the empty house but cobwebs, dust bunnies, and mice. In suffocating silence, I heard only the sound of insects and howling wind through the cracked window. Completely frightened, I ran away from the place, and I finally recognized that this abandoned house was in the middle of a thick forest. How could I have spent a night in a place like this? Who was she last night? Meanwhile, I found my car parked in front of the house and I quickly drove home. When I checked my dash cam, I was shocked. In the footage, I was driving alone to that house. Besides, I just kept speaking alone, though there wasn't her voice back. Then, with whom did I spend the night? Who the hell was that? What was worse, some changes began to happen in my body. My body began to smell weird. My eyes turned reddish and the skin turned purple day by day. I also quickly lost too much weight. Sometimes I felt like I had absolutely no energy, and I collapsed from time to time while walking. In such cases, I even couldn't get up because I had no power, and I had to struggle hard just to push myself up from the ground. At work, I spent time sitting in a chair, only half conscious, and my boss often criticized me fiercely. "You can't be like this at work. Who did you sell your soul to?" Even when I got back home, I couldn't do anything, but just lie on my bed and recall the night I spent with her. As time went by, my incredible craving for her grew more and more. And one day, I couldn't stand it anymore. I just drove to that abandoned house at 2 a.m. I was like completely out of my mind. When I arrived at the house, she was there. Besides, there were 2 more beautiful women. They got highly delighted looking at me. They whispered they loved me in my ears dozens and dozens of times, and I fell asleep, overwhelmed with great pleasure and happiness. However, next morning, I found a strange man sleeping next to me when I woke up. He also woke up with a start and shouted, "What the heck? Why am I in this shitty place with a shitty jerk like you? I was with a hot chick last night." I kicked him out, swearing loudly. However, he fell on the floor powerlessly, just like I did before, and he almost crawled away. I was confused, but soon I thought to myself like this: no man can come here. Nobody. This must be mine. And I had visited her house, that abandoned house, every night since that day. The strange thing was that the women appeared only after midnight, and I had absolutely no idea where they came from and where they disappeared to. Just like sweet dreams, I almost lost all my memory next morning, and only some flashes of sweet moments remained in my head. However, I found different men lying next to me every day. One morning, I found 2 guys sleeping right next to me when I woke up, and one of them was the one who had already come here once before. I got extremely mad and yelled at him, "I told you to piss off!" I was about to slap his face, At that moment, he suddenly began to look so painful, grabbing his chest. I and the man next to him panicked. After a while, he just died. My brain suddenly became blank, and the other guy ran away screaming, "If we sleep here, we are gonna die!" After pulling myself together, I called the police and they arrived soon. Carrying the body away, they said, "I don't know what you guys were doing here, but you know how many people have died here? Healthy young men have died over and over again here. We are going to close this place, and don't even think about hanging around here anymore. Understood?" I got scared, but I couldn't get away from there because I was already deeply addicted. I locked up all the doors and openings of the house. This place must be mine. Nobody's allowed to get in. I spent every night there, and every morning, I woke up alone in this empty, dirty place, struggling with shame, fear, and regret. But I believed I had no option but to just repeat this for the rest of my life. Of course, I tried hard to push it out of my head, but I couldn't do anything but keep thinking about the women there over and over again, all day and night. Other men also sometimes came and asked me to open the door, yelling and knocking hard on the door. Then I brought a knife and threatened to kill them. They pounced on me, yelling like, "She said she loved me." I fought with them and they ran away at the end. Although I got totally covered in blood, I shed tears of joy as I succeeded in defending from other guys anyway. A couple of days passed, and nothing was left in my body but skin and bones like a skeleton. I don't know why, but I wasn't able to walk anymore. I had to just lie on a bed powerlessly from morning to night every day. Now, I wasn't able to go to work. Not surprisingly, I got struck with poverty. Besides living in the dirty place, I got all kinds of diseases because of unhygienic surroundings. Some weird liquid leaked from my eyes, nose, and mouth, and my vision became blurry and dark. Finally, I was taken to the hospital. The doctor said I was dying, and I would be in real danger if not treated immediately. Nevertheless, I was trying to get back to the abandoned house. So I was forcibly put in a mental hospital by my mother. But even in the hospital, I cried out loudly for the women every day. In a panic, I used to curse and swear at doctors and nurses. Then, I got shot with a tranquilizer and passed out. All this was repeated day after day. After several months, I slowly began to get better and better. And finally, everything around me got back on track, and I was waking up to reality. Yeah, the women there didn't love me. They were killing me. Curiously, however, I didn't remember their face, phone number, or whatever about them. Nothing left in my head. At the end of a very long treatment, I could get back to normal, and I've never been anywhere near the place until today. But I know that there are still many men going to that abandoned house, and that they will end up dead. But I can't save them, though. Once I put my foot in the house again, there will be really no turning back. So I warn you, if you meet these women by any chance, never follow them. They are not real. They are just an illusion, existing only in your mind.